BRILLIANCE, ALOHA everyone. I am Kumu Kawika Foster, and we are completing the LomiLomi Deep Dive Series. In this video, we're talking about finding your personal flair, mastery, and wholeness. And I get a little bit emotional in this video. So join me as I share with you the intricacies of discovering who you are, the entirety of your being, and weaving it seamlessly into the flow and dance and art of LomiLomi Hawaiian Healing Touch. Mahalo for being here, and let's get into the video. So once again, everybody, we are in the zone. We are completing the LomiLomi Deep Dive Series. And in order to complete it, I have chosen to talk about finding your personal flair and the meaning, the essence, and the understanding of mastery and wholeness in Hawaiian Healing Touch. When we speak of mastery, we must go all the way back to the beginning of our shares and go all the way back to the foundation that you have heard both myself and Lawrence continually speaking about. And that foundation is based on the principles of aloha, unconditional love, and bringing that into action and making it an integral component of your way of life. We've also talked about pono and the significance and the essence of pono being righteousness and right alignment, that it has everything to do with everything about you being in its rightful place. And when that happens, there's an alignment that occurs, and that alignment is our connection to that of our ancestors, our guardians, and the higher being. We also speak about ohana in this foundation, and the importance and the significance of understanding that everything and everyone in this universe is family to us, that we are a part of a whole. We also speak of o'ia'io, which is the essence of truth, the spirit of truth, and understanding that it is also a line of truth, that when we speak, when we do the teachings of our ancestors, that it inspires and it brings forth the force of the entirety of the force and the brilliance of the light that we're born with. This foundation consists of all of these principles and many, many more. And mastering this foundation sets for you not only a precedence, but also a means from which you can orient yourself in the direction of your life, but also orient yourself in your understanding of who you are, your sense of belonging, and therefore your place in this entirety of this universe. Then once we have done the work to master this foundation, to secure and to lock into place all of the components that are necessary and significant and important in the path of our ancestors and the understanding of their spirituality, then we can begin to tap into how we move and operate on top of that foundation. In the art of LomiLomi, many times we speak of the flow and the dance that occurs when we move into the space of offering healing touch to our ohana, to our family. Mastering the foundation allows for the flow and the dance of that offering of LomiLomi to reach its fullness and to touch deeply and with the full presence of that of our ancestors, that of our guardians, and of course to allow ourselves to open to receiving the healing power that is granted to us only by that of Akua, or the higher being that we believe in. As we move from the mastery of the foundation, then we must also speak of the wholeness of our beings. And in this wholeness, we are acknowledging the clarity and the connection that is required of us as practitioners of Hawaiian healing touch, as practitioners of LomiLomi, that our connection is free and clear, and that we are operating from a place of full self-awareness and self-knowing. When we do this, we're able to find the alignment that is required to be able to do any kind of healing, not just that of healing touch or that of LomiLomi, but in any kind of healing at any given moment in our lives. And this alignment that we speak of is an alignment of your spirit, your mind, and your body. And the work, the HANA that we've been sharing with you is about ensuring that connection, that relationship between all of the facets of our being is in its rightful place. And when that happens, the alignment that we have and the connection that we have to that of our ancestors, our guardians, and the higher being is free and clear. And therefore also able to give, but also to receive the healing power that is granted to us from that higher power. This is the integral components of the wholeness of our being, right? It's then moves us into knowing in our entirety who we are. And who we are is taking us all the way back to the moment of our birth, right? And the fullness of the light that we were born with, the wholeness of the connection that we have to everyone and everything in this universe. When we speak of aloha, unconditional love, there's a teaching, and that teaching shares with us aloha ikekahi ikekahi, which translates to love one another unconditionally. In the teaching, we do not have to condone everything that others do, but it is important for us as human beings, as spiritual beings, that we find a way to love them anyways. That we are embracing the fullness of our light and its capabilities, and therefore also embracing our ability to love one another unconditionally. It begins by knowing who we are and knowing everything about ourselves. And when we do this, then we can bring ourselves to a place of loving everything that we know about ourselves. But it doesn't stop there. It continues on in the teaching of this understanding of our ancestors. And that is that when we reach a place where we love everything that we know about ourselves, then we must also turn around and share it with everyone and everything in this universe, because that is indeed what makes it unconditional. So knowing who you are and loving everything that you know about yourself allows you to access the flair and the essence of your being, of who you are on all levels, that you were born into this life and into this existence as and with. That flair that we speak of in LomiLomi is your ability to integrate the mastery of the foundation, the wholeness of your being, into the flow and the dance of the HANA, the work of Hawaiian healing touch, of LomiLomi, but also in the HANA, in the work of your life as a whole. Somewhere in the middle of my learning with Kumu Lawrence Aki, it was nearing a time of great change. Excuse me, I'm getting emotional talking about it. Lawrence shared this with me in a time that was nearing the great change of when when we were moving out of Halawa, when we were moving and growing out of the dynamic of the relationship of a Kumu and a Haumana. And before I moved on, Lawrence said to me, Kawika, never lose your flair. And to be honest with you all, to be open and vulnerable with you all, I didn't fully understand what he was sharing with me at that time. I didn't fully understand the light that he was capable of seeing in me. So, finding that flair, knowing who you are, the entirety of who you are, it's what we strive to remember, and once we do, to hold on to it with a conviction and a strength that is unshakable and is unmovable. That flair is who you are. And at that time, and in that moment, oh good, I'm coming out of my emotional connection to it. At that time of Lawrence sharing that with me, I knew that there was a window, an opportunity for me to remember, because he could see it, and he was acknowledging it. And at that time in my life, loving components of that flair that I myself had not even realized at that particular moment in my life. So those words later on, about 3 or 4 years after he shared those words with me, then I came to understand what he was sharing with me. So, finding your flair, knowing who you are, and loving everything that you know, and then demonstrating that. Caring for it, caring for that light that we're born with, and demonstrating it to our ancestors, to our guardians, to Akua, to the higher being, to our family and to our loved ones. Whether it's a simple touch or it's a complete dance of healing. That's the offering that you have to it. The entirety of your being, your flair. Mahalo, aloha, and I'm done with the contribution to the completion of this LomiLomi Deep Dive. Mahalo.